The next problem that we are going to be looking at is in Unit 2. We're looking at the problem that has an m squared in it. I'm trying to find it.
That one, 29.
29?
29 or 28, either one.
Okay, well, we'll do number 29. In order to get rid of the square root, we are going to square both sides, but when we do square both sides, we need to remember to check our answer at the end, because we may have artificially introduced an extraneous root that won't work. So I'm just making a note out to the side that we need to check our answer at the end. So if we square both sides, the root and the squared will cancel each other out. So we're just left with m plus 13 equals 1. Because 1 squared is 1, and then subtract 13 from both sides to get the m alone on one side of the equal side. So we end up with m equals -12, and now we need to put that back in the original problem. So we have -12 plus 13 would be 1. The square root of 1 is 1. And so that is equal to the 1 that's on the right-hand side. However,
Not as scary as it seems.
Yeah, if we had had a -1 on this side, we would have come up with -12 as well, and it would have come out as 1 equals -1, which is not true, and it would have been an extraneous root. So just watch out. If you're squaring both sides, you're turning everything positive, which could introduce an impossibility. So be sure you're checking your answer if you've raised both sides to an even power. Okay, we have time for one more.
Could we do 27?
Yes, we could. Need to write down what's all in this video. So we did 29 and 27. All right, on number 27, we have a radical in our equation. So we need to isolate that radical first, and then we can square both sides to get rid of it. It'll become much more complicated of a problem if you don't isolate the radical first. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to isolate the radical by subtracting x to the other side. So now on the right-hand side, I have 4 minus x. Now, and this is 0 here. Now I'm going to square both sides. The squared and the radical will cancel each other out. But we need to remember to check our answers at the end because we have squared both sides. Just a reminder for us. Okay, so we'll have a 10 minus x on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we have 4 minus x quantity squared. And you've got to watch out. It's not just, you can't just square everything in the parentheses because there's that minus in there. If there's a minus or a plus, you can't just square everything in the parentheses. It doesn't distribute. Instead, you have to consider it to be 4 minus x times itself. So it's 2 factors of 4 minus x multiplied together. All right, this is going to give us a perfect square trinomial because it's the binomial times itself. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times negative x is minus 4x. And then we have another minus 4x there. Combining those like terms gives us a minus 8x. And then negative x times negative x is plus x squared. Now that's all equal to 10 minus x. Now we've got a quadratic. So in order to solve this, we're going to get 0 on one side and everything else on the other. So I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides in order to get 0 over here on the left. And I'm also going to add x to both sides. So now 10 minus 10 is a 0 pair, negative x plus x is a 0 pair. So we're left with 0 is equal to, I'm going to write the x squared first just to make it easier to factor. Negative 8x plus x is minus 7x. 16 minus 10 is plus 6. And now this can be factored as binomial times another binomial. We think what times what is x squared? That would be x times x. Now we have to think what multiplies to 6 that adds to negative 7. Any thoughts? I'll give you a hint. Negative times negative is positive.
1 times 6.
Yes.
One of them being, yeah, both negative.
Negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6, but negative 6 plus negative 1 is negative 7. And now we set each factor equal to 0. So if we set x minus 6 equal to 0, we would add 6 to both sides and we'll end up with x equals 6. And if we set x minus 1 equal to 0, we would add 1 to both sides and we would end up with x equals 1. And now our last step is to check both answers in the original. We had 6 and 1 that we're going to test back in this original right here. If we try the 6, 10 minus 6 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 6 is 8. Is that the same as 4?
No.
No. So the answer of 6 did not work. Now we'll try the answer of 1. 10 minus 1 is 9. The square root of 9 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. Does 4 equal 4?
Yes.
Yes. So there's only
That's why
one
it says the only solution.
Right. So when you check your answers, it could be that both of them will work. It could be that one of them will work. It could be that none of them will work.
So if one works, is it still correct? If none of them work, the answer's wrong completely.
If none of them work, you would say no solution.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
This was
you.
so
This was-
helpful.